You know, the best thing in the world is being in love. And I can say that because I'm in love. And I'm not just in love with just anybody. I'm in love with Sam. Yeah, the girl that works in this cafe. Yeah, my assistant to the YouTube shows. And I bet you're wondering how it happened. You know, truth be told, she had me at hello, Sam. Camera.
Oh. Marcus, my love. Yes. I can't bear for us to be apart.
You can't? Oh, you can't! Neither can I. It's terrible. It was awful when we're apart.
Oh, awful.
Terrible.
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 Excuse me. Can you guys separate long enough to give me a latte for Kate?
Oh, it's fine. I prepared it already.
Don't worry, Tim. We can work like this.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm not worried much.
Blonde hair. So beautiful.
Oh.
Honey, check the baby monitor.
She's sleeping.
Hey, Papa.
What? Sophie?
What'd you get Mom?
For what?
For Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
She wants jewelry from Marbles. She wants diamonds.
Well, I was kind of thinking...
Diamonds!
Okay. Shh. Go back to sleep.
This year, give her a gift that everyone knows she will love from Marville Diamonds and Jewelry in Belle Vernon.
Remember when paying attention to detail was important to building things that last? At Omega Home Improvements, we believe that your siding deserves that same attention to detail so it too is built to last. We specialize in a foam back insulated panel that features 5 times the energy efficiency and is 4.5 feet longer than other panels used on homes today. We're Omega Home Improvements, doing it right from beginning to end.
Can you please try harder to convince people that we're in love?
I'm doing the best I can considering you keep bear hugging me. I can't breathe.
Okay, well, you need to take it up a notch. Okay, I understand that we're both not actors, okay? But you're doing a terrible job. You're not doing a good job at all. Okay, now I have this awesome pretend life, okay? And it needs to work out for Perks. So I need you to try harder so we can keep making this thing work, okay?
My acting is just fine. If you want the audience to believe that we're dating, then you should take me out on a date like real dating people do.
Okay, that's fine. We can do that. We'll just go Dutch.
No, we won't. I'm not spending my real money on your pretend life.
All right.
You know, every time I'm here and you're here, you're either not here or you're not doing anything. It's not a very good impression to make on investors.
Well, actually, Phil, I just finished filming a segment with Marcus, and we're getting ready to follow Sam around, so we're doing something. So, tell me, have you heard the latest news?
What?
Sam and Marcus are dating.
Yeah, tell me another one.
No, you don't believe it?
No.
Well, according to them, they are in love, and believe me, you'll find out soon enough.
I wonder what they're up to.
Well, you know them better than I do. Hey, you know what? Maybe you could find out. Well, you know, for the show, of course.
I'm not here to do anything for the show.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah. I mean, if you can't, you can't.
Did you just actually ask me to do something to help the show? I can't believe it. You actually just admitted that you do need my help.
Co-found, and now you're the president or
right.
CEO or whatever of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Why did you do something like that?
Well, you know, as you might remember, my background was in TV news. I was a reporter and more specifically a producer most of the time, telling news stories. And as I like to tell it in shorthand, I got tired of telling and reporting on the bad things that were happening and wanted to do something about it. And whether you look at what's happening with the crime rate that's happened or with families falling apart, the rampant divorce rate, I just felt like somebody needs to get in and try to make a difference in that realm. And many people kind of focus on Washington and think that that's where problems are going to be solved. The group that I was working with to help start Pennsylvania Family Institute thought, we need to work at the local level, at the state level, and look at policies and cultural trends that are tearing families apart. And so that's what we do at the Family Institute.
So how are you doing it? I mean, do you send out protest letters? Do you have people gather at courthouses? What is it? How does it work for you?
Well, it's a variety of things. One is educating the public to understand the vital importance of the family. The family is the basic building block of society. When a child is born, there's usually a mother right there, there's a woman right there, there always is. Marriage is all about making sure that there's a dad around as well, so that a mother and a husband and wife, a mother and father coming together in marriage is the best health, education, welfare institution for that child ever devised. And what we've seen in our society is those marriages falling apart, children being born out of wedlock or whatever, not having father absence is a terrible problem. So we educate people about that issue and a whole range of issues that we think are eroding and tearing apart the fabric of society. So that's number one. Then when people are educated, they have a responsibility then to do something with the information they have, and we give them tools on how to influence the culture, how to be salt and light wherever they are, as well as to influence the public policy that oftentimes hurt the trends that are hurting the family.
So it's a Christian-based organization.
Yeah, it is.
You said Salt and Light, so
Yeah.
it's something to do with biblical principles and things like that.
Well, it is, and that's at the foundation, at the root of what we do organizationally. But if you watched us walk around the Capitol, for example, our lobbyists, the people that we have on staff, they're not typically or really ever in that situation spouting biblical verses, except if it might be a Christian legislator who understands that, but rather translating those biblical principles into the common vernacular of the public square. And really, if you look at our nation's founding documents, that's what our founders did. They took biblical principles and laid them out in kind of a governance language that applies to everybody, not just the redeemed or the saved in society.
So you're working with these legislators in Harrisburg to try to help them to understand some of the principles where the people are, and then you're talking to the people and educating them as to, listen, you know what, you don't. It may look like society's going to hell in a handbasket, but you can do something about it. You can do. There is hope.
Well, there is hope. It's interesting that I would be described as a lobbyist, and it's nice of you to let me in this coffee shop as a lobbyist, because that reputation is not the best calling card these days. But the fact is that we do lobbying differently. Really, all Americans, based on our system of government, have the opportunity to lobby. I mean, our Constitution tells us that we have the right to petition our government.
We have a voice.
We have a voice. We have First Amendment rights. And so what we do, rather than the way the typical lobbyist works, which is kind of campaign contributions and money-oriented lobbying, trying to sway in that way, we do it inside through persuasion, understanding the issues and communicating that effectively. But more specifically, it's through people all across this Commonwealth, the citizens, the people in the church pews, who do have a voice, have been given that voice, to then use their voice there.
Well, hello, my two favorite His Place customers.
You are such a sweetheart. Thank you.
It is so nice that the two of you have each other.
We think so too. Is the coffee fresh?
Always.
Apparently, we're not the only two around here who have a special friendship. You and Marcus?
He said the two of you are dating?
Oh, yes, we are. He's taking me out to a date tomorrow night. We're going to go to dinner and then to the movies and maybe dancing. There's a new club that's opening up.
He loves to dance.
So do I. I mean, we can't wait.
Look, I might take you to dinner, but you can forget about the movie and dancing. And I know the little new club you're talking about. Yeah, that little club down there, that's going to cost me half my paycheck for the cover charge. Okay, listen, we are pretend dating. Okay? I really don't want this to cost me real money. So I'll take you to Lenny's and you can have anything on the value menu.
I like a large tub of popcorn with extra butter and lots of candy when I watch a movie. Oh, and be sure to wear a suit because that nightclub has a dress code. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I'm so in love.
Oh, that went well, I think.
What are you talking about?
Oh, come on, Marcus. I mean, remember who you're talking to, all right? You and Sam in love? I'm not buying it.
Oh, yes, I remember exactly who I'm talking to. And I remember that it's none of your business.
Listen, pal, it is my business. I'm your manager. This is all my business. I have a right and a need to know what's going on with you.
You aren't my manager. Hey, listen, me and Sam are dating. That's what it is. She's the one for me, I'm the one for her, and she was right there under my nose the entire time.
Yeah, okay. It's good.
Oh, your mother must be very happy.
Why?
I mean, she was the one who was pressuring you to meet a nice guy and settle down, all that good stuff.
I am not marrying Marcus.
Well, that's what people do when they're in love.
We're just dating. We are going to go out to a movie and dancing and dinner tomorrow night.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
We really love dancing.
There are always hot buttons. You know, our culture. There's something. There's somebody. You know, you just look in New York City. There's people protesting there.
Yeah.
What are the hot buttons when you're dealing with family-related things? What are the hot buttons here that you've got to say? You know what? These are the things we really need to hit. These are the things we really need people to respond to, and these are the things we really need to educate people about.
Well, there's a variety of issues that we work on day in and day out. I mean, I think at the core, and even well, at the core is marriage. That's the basis of family. And when we started back in 1989, a big focus of ours, and has continued to be, is how do we do something about the rampant divorce rate? I mean, there's nobody who's comes into this place that hasn't been impacted by divorce, whether in their own life or whatever.
At least half the marriages, if you believe those statistics, which seems to fare out in here, half the marriages end up in divorce in one way or another, or pretty close to it.
Exactly, and so, you know, that was a trend that happened back, you know, starting in the 1970s with no-fault divorce that came, and that just exacerbated the whole situation of kind of looking for an easy way out of what could be trouble. And every marriage goes through some difficulty at some point. And so what we've done at Pennsylvania Family Institute, number one, is to work on the policy side of things, to say, are there things that can be done in public policy that can help strengthen marriage and prevent divorce? But then we work with churches to encourage churches to take a look, what can we do to strengthen marriage, to honor people who stick it out, and to give pastors and to give individuals the tools. We did a marriage retreat earlier this year in concert with a ministry called Family Life, called The Art of Marriage, because people need tools, and if we can turn that around, we can impact the well-being of children. The notion of father absence is one of the, you know, the situation with father absence is one of the biggest causes of failure in school, of premarital sexual activity, drug abuse, all of those sorts of things. But the other thing, Tim, a key issue is that marriage is really under attack as well. People who want to redefine it think that the institution doesn't mean anything anymore. It can be whatever we want it to be.
Well, what are the things? How do you say? I know you're a Christian organization, but how do you say to these government officials that? I mean, because they're not going to. Do they hear you when you say this is a biblical value that marriage should be between a man and a woman, or is there a way that you're able to communicate these ideals that without saying this is the Bible and you got to pay attention to it?
Well, there are ways to do it. It's not always easy. People don't want to hear it, or they just want to. The term tolerance. They don't want to be what they would say is judgmental. And yet, when you look at why does government recognize marriage to begin with, why did government even get involved in it? Because marriage pre-existed government. It existed throughout all of history. But marriage brings benefits to society. When a man and woman come together and have children, that benefits society. That creates that anchor for that child to be raised. And when you have that changed, when you have any kind of definition for that marriage that removes the whole reason for marriage. It's not about love. Honestly, people might listening, or thinking about that issue might think, what do you mean it's not about love? But really, government doesn't recognize whether two people love each other. They're recognizing people committing themselves to each other for the purposes of raising children, ultimately.
Because that makes stronger citizens, it makes happier families, less people. If I'm hearing you right, if there's a happy family, then there'll be less suicides, less drugs, less premarital sex, less kids out there abandoned, things like that. If there's happy marriages, so it's good for society as a whole.
Well, I remember specifically one of my oldest son's baseball little league coach coming to me, and he said, You know, Mike, he said, I can tell that Chris is from a strong family where there's a mom and a dad there. And if you talk to any school teacher or any Little League coach or anybody who deals with kids on, on that regular basis, they can kind of tell the situation where there is either a family breakup, which is being acted out by those kids. And so people see it as kind of, they see it day in and day out. Our government has historically recognized it, but now we just think, well, let just people do what they want, and we don't care about the impact on the kids. And we as a society can't continue to turn blind.
His place.
Just small coffee, please.
Wait, small coffee? You always get the caramel mocha lead, and I get the mocha light on the muffin. And are you cutting back? You have heart problems?
Nothing like that. I am cutting back, though, because there are some things that I want to do.
Oh, you mean like buy a new car or a big vacation?
No, nothing like that. See, I've started 20 for 20. It's this way that I can reach out around the world through my neighborhood and literally around the world. It's Cornerstone Television's new outreach program where 20 for 20 stands for $20 a month for 20 minutes. Basically, for $20 a month, if I skip a few muffins and a few scones every month, then what I can do is support 20 minutes of Cornerstone Television's broadcast day.
Well, no, they broadcast in my neighborhood, around the country, and around the world, right?
Yeah. Well, my $20 is bringing the gospel to my neighborhood as well as around the world, but it's doing more than that. I'm feeding and clothing orphans. I'm also seeing families restored. And you know what? The other night somebody called and they were at the end of their rope. Somebody prayed for them. Their life was changed. I like to believe that that was my 20 minutes. That's worth skipping a few muffins a month. Do you know that your morning cup of coffee can help clothe, feed, rescue, and care for the poorest of the poor? I know it may seem hard to believe, but it can happen. His Place and Kiva Han Coffee have joined forces to bring a special blend of coffee that will change the world. Hope Coffee is a direct trade coffee, which means that the families of the people who work hard on the coffee farms receive the funds directly from their harvest. In addition, the profits from Hope Coffee go to help rescue children in impoverished countries and bring the message of God's love to people all around the world. For a limited time, for your gift of $37, we'll send you as our thank you a His Place mug and a 12-ounce bag of Hope Coffee. Together, we're changing the world one life at a time through one cup of coffee at a time. Send your gift today.
Sam tells us you're going on a date tomorrow night.
She seems to have it all planned out.
Well, we planned it together.
So what are you doing?
Well, we're going to do some dinner and maybe a movie and dancing.
Anybody can do a movie and dancing.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Listen, your grandfather used to want to take a hot air balloon ride. They are so romantic. We always thought we'd get around to it, but we never did.
There's a lesson there, Marcus. You should do those type of things with Sam so you don't miss out on them later. Isn't that right, Lottie?
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could try. I mean, how much that cost?
I see you taking Sam on a romantic balloon ride.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, had a cater picnic to surprise her.
Well, how much is that going to cost?
You can't put a price tag on love, boy.
Hey, Marcus, can I have another latte?
Nightclubs and hot air balloons and everything.
Oh, that's right. I heard you and Sam were dating. You better hope you get another YouTube check soon. I bet she's really expensive.
But dating doesn't have to be expensive.
Oh, ain't love grand? That's why I try to avoid it.
You do? Why?
Well, it complicates everything, and I like to just be simple with stuff. Yeah, hey, listen, if you hurry up with that drink, I might even leave you a tip, and I think you're gonna need it. Money.
So if you, first off, you said you were a lobbyist, and it sounds like you really do help people, though.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're helping with these, get these seminars going to help marriages work and things like that, and that's a little bit more than being a lobbyist.
And you heard me say earlier, salt and light. I mean, ultimately, we're we believe there's a call on people's lives. And in our form of government, it's like the parable of the talents. That individuals, that each one of us in our form of government has been given this gift to have a voice in what happens. So whether it's a tax rate that we don't like, or what's going on our local school board, or some sex education curriculum that's being taught in the school that we don't appreciate, or so many different ways that we can raise our voice, whether it's just by voting. And we do voters guides, for example, at Pennsylvania Family Institute, have for throughout our 20 years of existence, to help people get up to speed, because a lot of people go into the voting booth, they don't even know the names of the people that they're seeing there. We help get them information.
I'm in the coffee shop business, and so I have people coming in excited about elections and whining and complaining about elections all the time. So you know, I hear it all. I hear them come in. You know, they're this that, and the other. But when you're doing what you do, obviously there's a way to make a difference for people, individual people, to have a real impact. Is it through connecting up with your organization? Is it through voting? Is it through getting the facts? Is it through what's the best way for people to get educated so they can make differences, stop whining, and start being light, and scatter the darkness?
Well, I'd be happy if you want to tell your customers our website address. I mean, it's pafamily.org, so that's easy enough for people to remember. They can go to that website and get information on a day-to-day basis. We keep it updated on things that are going on in Harrisburg or in their local communities. But then we have tools for how people can get involved. If they want to do something with a local citizenship group or salt and light group within their local church, we have a whole manual that can help them if they feel inclined to get involved in a more significant way in addressing the public policy issues that are impacting the culture and their community. Way back, there's a guy, Dr. Dobson, wrote a book called Children at Risk back in 1990, and he talked about the pathway from childhood to adulthood as that every one of us as a hallway, a corridor, and every one of us through every generation has to walk down that hallway. In past generations, and in every generation, there are these doorways leading on to all kinds of negative behavior, drug abuse, premarital sexual activity. Past generations, adults have tried to keep those doors shut and keep kids out. In today's society, those doors are flung open, and the adults, the institutions of society, are beckoning our kids to come in. So what we need people to do is to partner with us, get involved in their local church, get involved with an organization like ours, to say we're going to try to protect kids, we're going to try to keep those doors shut, and to lead for a more healthy future for our children, a better future for our society.
Is there hope? I mean, that's one of the things that I hear, so much, people kind of throwing up their hands and saying, you know what, society's just getting worse and worse. Is there hope, or are you seeing inroads?
I do see inroads. I mean, there's plenty of signs that you would say, boy, I feel pessimistic, but hope is the right word. It's not optimism or pessimism, it's hope. The scriptures tell us to where our hope comes from, and ultimately, with God's intervention, with people praying and people taking responsibility, things can turn around. We've had bleak times in our history in the past, many times, where people gave up hope and thought things were not going to turn around. But there really is hope, and so I think we keep our hand to the plow and leave the results to God. God's calling us to be responsible, to be involved, and then God's ultimately responsible for the results. But Jesus is, the greatest commandment is to love God and then to love our neighbor as ourselves. This is a way to love your neighbor.
Is there a win that you've seen where you look and say, you know what? Yeah, this was going down this way, but this is really a win now.
Well, we've had some on the positive and some on the negatives. On the negative side, for example, just one example is there was an effort, the organization called Planned Parenthood wrote a law or a bill to require very explicit sex education to be imposed in every school district in Pennsylvania. And we're talking about just crazy kind of stuff that they want to teach kids from the earliest age. And that kind of law has been passed in New York State. Here in Pennsylvania, we were able to stop that, and that's a positive in terms of stopping something. But then in terms of advancing opportunities for parents on where they want to send their kids to school, we've pushed for school choice for a long time. Back in 2001.
Oh boy, I tell you what, first fight, I think. Honeymoon's over.
You remember what it was like being in love at that age? Nothing like it, right?
Yeah, nothing like it. We've all been there, huh?
Yeah, sometimes more than once.
You ever been married?
No, I almost was, but it didn't really work out. What about you?
Oh, yeah. Come to think of it, technically, I think I still am married. I don't know, man. I don't understand. It's really hard. I mean, sometimes you feel trapped. I mean, miscommunication. You get into a fight, you don't know who's winning. I mean, it just keeps on going on and on.
Well, what do you know, Phil? Something that you and I actually agree on.
Absolutely. You know what? I bet there's something else we can agree on.
What's that?
Well, this whole relationship with Sam and Marcus might make really good filming for Perks. Relationships work well in reality television, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and it could, even if it's not real.
Oh, trust me, it's real. You think Marcus is going to be spending this kind of money on dinners, flowers, hot air balloon rides if it's not real?
Yeah, you got a good point there.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I guess this will be a pretty expensive lesson for Marcus if it doesn't work out, right?
He has no idea. I tell you what.
It's good to see you guys finally acting civil with one another and getting along.
Yeah.
Do what we
What
can.
you talking about?
Oh, manly things.
Manly things?
Yes, manly
Two
things.
of you are getting along talking about manly things.
Yes,
Like
relationships.
what?
Relationships, yeah. How they never work out right.
Miscommunication.
Cost too much money, all that good stuff.
Trapped.
Guys, come on. You aren't serious.
Oh, yeah. Deadly serious.
I mean, you know, I've been married 28 years. Relationships can work, you know.
God bless you, man. I'll tell you what.
You know what? I think you guys got it messed up. Do you know, when I do, let me just give you one little hint.
Sure.
Okay, just one thing. Okay, just one cue. This will help you.
She's
to
always
do...
right.
No.
That's the answer.
No,
That is
Come
usually
on.
the answer, yeah.
Listen.
Sorry.
You want one thing to see how to make a relationship work right?
Yeah, what's the secret, Tim?
The job of every man in any relationship is to look at his wife or his fiance or even this young woman that he's dating to say, how can I help her to become the best that she can be? And then the job of every woman is to say, how can I help this young man, my husband, my fiance or whatever, to be the best that he can be? And when you do that, what happens is neither of you are fighting for position. You aren't worrying about my pride, my arrogance. It's like, you know what can I do? And then what happens is you end up getting like the perfect person in your life, or you find out, you know what, there's no hope there.
I have a question.
Okay?
Where are these women that actually look at guys and say, how can I help?
Yeah, I haven't met one of those yet.
Well, you bring them my way, and I'll help
hiding?
you. You bring them my way, and I'll help you find it. See, that's what it is. Guys,
You on your way. Pull up a chair and find his care. We'll be here every day in his place. Ba-ba-da-na, his place, his place, his place.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to His Place. Another great show. I tell you, we'll never straighten these guys out. It's going to take a long way. Hey, if you want more information about the Pennsylvania Family Institute, you can always go to our website, hisplace.tv, and we'll have information there for you. And you want to find out anything else about the show, you know what? If you want to make a reservation so you can come and sit in the cafe and have a cup of coffee, you can go to the website there too. Join us next time when Michael Geer is back with us talking about family issues.